Okay, welcome.
I was calling in regards to the Paris shootings that happened recently.
Yeah, terrible.
And I was listening to a podcast that Sam Harris did recently, and he basically was addressing the reaction that a lot of news media had in regards to the killings. And it seems like a lot of people don't want to address the issue of Islam and the problem of these people taking the book literally and actually acting out on what the book actually says.
So the caller has a good question. There's a raging debate whether this terrorism we're seeing all over the world is connected to Islam, is connected to the books, to the Quran, to the Hadith. Now Sam Harris says yes, and he's got tons of evidence to back it up. And other people like Dean say no.
Howard? Yeah, this is a chronic problem. I stopped calling these people Muslim terrorists. They're about as Muslim as I am.
So you got the question, the caller's question. Is this terrorism related to Islam? Now let's see how the atheist experience responds.
I don't know who Sam Harris is talking to that he doesn't think that they are objecting to fundamentalist Islam or terrorism. Because, I mean, it sure sounded to me like everybody who said anything about the Charlie Hebdo shootings, except for ISIS and Al-Qaeda maybe, universally condemned the shootings, and that includes a whole lot of Muslim leaders.
So Russell, he thinks that the caller asks, why isn't anybody condemning the terrorist attacks? Is that what the caller asks? That is totally not understanding the English language. And at the end, of course, he throws in that Muslims all over the place are condemning. Well, he's right. They are condemning. And not only condemning, but they're protesting in the streets, but not against the violence. They're protesting against the cartoonists, against freedom of speech, just the other day in London and all over the world.
Let me ask you a question. Are you white?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that the same week an NAACP building was bombed here in the U.S.?
No, I had no idea.
Do you condemn that?
I do.
Why haven't you A, heard about it, or B, gone out publicly condemning it? Like, I would expect you to go right now on your Facebook and say that you publicly condemn it, you do not agree with the things that those white people did, and you are ashamed to be white.
Yes.
Does that feel like a fair thing to ask?
I wouldn't say I'm ashamed to be white.
Lynnea. The guy was bringing up the question as to whether this terrorism is related to the doctrine of Islam. That was what he was bringing up. That's the subject he was broaching. And you bring up the NAACP? It makes me question whether you understand the human language or not to respond to his question like that. But anyway, we'll gloss over the fact that the NAACP quote-unquote bombing, nobody was injured. There was zero property damage. There was a little discoloration on a wall, as you can see. That's it. Now compare that with this that just happened today, just this morning.
And this is it. Even by ISIS's murderous standards, a new video the militants have just released is indeed horrific. It is a video that purports to show the beheadings of 21 Egyptian Coptic Christians. Almost as disturbing, this one purports to come not from Syria or Iraq, but from a new location, Libya. CNN correspondent Ian Lee, gathering information on the latest chilling developments, joins us now live from Cairo. Yet another depraved video, difficult to watch. The victim said to be Coptic Christians from Egypt. What have you been able to find out there, Ian?
Well, Michael, looking at this video, it's a 5-minute video. It marches these men out onto the beach. The title of the video is a message signed with blood to the nation of the cross, targeting the Coptic Christians here in Egypt.
So that was today, and yesterday we had...
And we turn next to that breaking news, what police are calling a terror attack in Denmark. A gunman opening fire through the window of a cafe where a meeting about free speech was taking place. Police saying the shooting resembles that massacre at a Paris magazine. So was today's target another artist who satirized the Prophet Muhammad?
And the day before yesterday, we had this. The public crucifixion of a guy in Syria. And then the day before that, we had this. Al-Qaeda inspired gunmen took over radio and TV stations in Libya, started broadcasting their own shit. And that's just the past 3 days, but stuff comes out daily. And if you want to go back, you know, the Paris attacks, Boko Haram wiping out 2,000 people in Baga at the same time as the Paris attacks, etc., etc., etc. You got my point? But Lynnea wants us to believe that all of that and more is equivalent to this NAACP thing. Talk about a false equivalence. But the more important thing, the more interesting thing I think here is, why does she want to do that? Why does she want to equate the two? The other day my nephew stole some bubble gum from a store, and we confronted him with it, and we said, well, why'd you do that? Well, he said, well, Johnny down the street, he stole 4 packs yesterday from the same store. So why did he say that? He said that to get himself off the hook, to normalize, to say what he did wasn't bad, because someone did something similar. It's the same thing when you ask a Republican, or you say, George Bush did all these bad things in his presidency and this and that. Well, what did they say? Well, Clinton did this. Clinton did X, Y, and Z. Obama did this. They don't address what George Bush did, but they just say that Obama did something bad, Clinton did something bad. It's the exact same thing that Lynnea is trying to do here. My little nephew was trying to get himself off the hook for stealing the bubble gum, and that's exactly what Lynnea is trying to do here. She's trying to diminish the horrific nature of the Islamic terrorism and put it in the same category as the NAACP incident. Why else would she bring up the NAACP incident?
Did you guys see Sam Harris on the real-time episode when Ben Affleck was on, and he was basically addressing Islam? You know, the root cause of the problem with the fundamentalism, you know, is in, you know, the Quran. You know, it's like, if you take the book literally and you adhere to the literal word of the book, then you know, you're capable of, you know, doing terrible things.
I listened to it via
he
podcast.
kind of was scrutinized by that, I think.
Well, the literal words of the Constitution say that that black people are 3/5 of a person. So
yeah,
you know,
it is.
I mean, I know there's other factors involved in why these people do what they do. I know that it's not just religion and their beliefs that causes this to happen. So, I mean, I guess, you know.
I feel like the thing that you want from us is like a kind of like an "I'm not racist" plaque.
Well,
you know,
I'm just
you're kind of coming to like 2 white people and you're saying, man, those things those Islamic people did, that was bad, right? And I can say that Islam is bad still, right? And that's not really a blanket thing that I'm comfortable giving out. So, I mean, they did bad things.
Lynnea, your stupidity continues to astound me. That is not what Sean was saying at all. Sean is saying, look, there's an international dialogue out there that's happening as to whether terrorism is related to the Islamic doctrine or not. That's what Sean's talking about. And there is tons of evidence that it is directly connected to the doctrine of Islam. You're supposed to be evidence-based. You're supposed to care about evidence. Why don't you do a little independent thinking or research out there to look at both sides? The only one talking about racism here is you, Lynnea. You're calling Christopher Hitchens a racist. You're calling Sam Harris. You're calling Sean a racist. You're calling me a racist, as implied by your idiotic ramblings. You're also calling many moderate Muslims racists, whose voices we need in this world desperately.
كل ما بيعمل داعش حاجة من التوحش، تطيير الرؤوس، ذبح الرقاب، بيعملوا ده. النهارده بيحرقوا حد فيطلع لك مشايخ إذا ما كانش طلع فعلا يقول لك إن هذا لا يمت للإسلام وأن الإسلام بريء منه وأنه مش عارف إيه. وداعش نفسها لما بتعمل ده، ذبح، قتل، اغتصاب، حرق، كل الجرائم المتوحشة اللي بتعملها دي بتقول شرعا.
So I guess this guy's a racist, huh, Lynnea? He's just saying the exact same thing that Christopher Hitchens has said, that Sean is saying, that Sam Harris is saying, that I'm saying. So no, we don't need any non-racist plaque from you. That's just your arrogance run amok and you hearing what you want to hear, not what we said.
Let's just say bad ideas. Just the concept of believing a bad idea. And, you know, obviously you guys have had many conversations with creationists, people that deny scientific evidence because of, you know, their desire to just want to feel good about a belief they have. You know, I mean, is it, you know, whether it leads to murder or whether it leads to denying science, I think that the point is just that, you know, addressing the problem with believing bad ideas, I think, is what. Yeah.
Thinking that bad ideas can lead to these kind of violent things, though, worries me because it kind of gets to the kind of mindset of, well, that means I'm immune, so I don't have to worry about it.
Because I never have any bad ideas.
Because I don't have bad ideas, because I'm a skeptic. And it's the kind of reason why, you know, sexual harassment is so prevalent at atheist conventions. It's because for a long time they didn't think that they had to deal with it because they're so rational, obviously. Oh, because I'm an atheist, because I'm a skeptic, I won't fall for something stupid like that that'll ask me to go so incredibly violent. But, you know, that's not necessarily the case.
We'll put aside that she's comparing horny guys at Skepticon to this. Let's get to the meat of her point, which is this. It's dangerous to believe other people have bad ideas, because if you do, you won't see your own bad ideas. That is asinine. Why don't we teach all our kids that don't worry about somebody's bad idea that wants to molest you, because if you do, you might think it's okay to cheat on your test. But what's at the bottom of this putrid thinking? What's under it all? It's obvious that she wants to equate all bad ideas, throw them all into the same barrel. They're equal. That's why she gets pissed off when you say Islam extremism is a bad idea. That's why she calls you racist if you merely point out that Islamic extremism is a bad idea. Because all bad ideas are the same. That's the same as being a horny dude at Skepticon. She's just blatantly demonstrating her liberal fundamentalism. I'm a liberal too, but I'm a skeptic first. I want to seek out the evidence and weigh the evidence so I can get as close as possible to the truth. Is this the atheist experience, or is this the liberal experience show? Well, I tell you what, Lynnea, using your own logic, if you quit focusing on the bad ideas of others like the sexual harassment of atheists, then maybe you could see your own bad ideas, like equating radical Islamic terrorists with atheist sexual harassers, and thus espousing that all bad ideas are equal. No, they are not equal. That is not only a bad idea, it is a dangerous one.